Assuming that this new administration crashes and burns Jimmy Carter style, the hope for 2024 must be that somewhere in Congress there a Trumpist at heart determined to put America and Americans first if he can get in a position to do so. https://TCOHI0RTUF0LQ.
Trump could have put a 350-page bill out there with every aspect of real patriotic immigration reform, or he could have gone with legislative tricks to get key things done. He tried neither. https://TCOHI0RTUF0LQ.
It seemed like a good idea in 2016 to support a presidential candidate from totally outside the Washington swamp. It was a good idea in principle, but the candidate just wasn't up to it. https://TCOHI0RTUF0LQ.
But your friends still can't fly in from London. https://TCOYKC7SPPZLR.
Sounds like a nice girl. If you come in and FK me, I will tell you the secrets of my father. Maxwell said. Rosen writes https://TCOFAHIXHBUBQ.
Hard to believe she's this dumb. Ghislaine Maxwell to reporter. I know the way you people think. If you do one side, you must do the other. If you get the takes on Trump, you have to do Clinton. https://TCOFAHIXHBUBQ.
Susmo and Bert Thurs like 6 different dog whistles, but basically they don't like black people.
They didn't even try hiding the racism on this one. https://TCOM302U7U9K.
The wait till everyone finds out how many high-up business people and public figures do hard drugs.
Socialism is when you have Republican policies. https://TCOSKU1PBSMW5. They are way too bold for posting their phone number like that publicly. Amazing marketing decision by making over 50 of this population not want to do business with you. https://TCOZANBMREQTC.
Jaffe in hell. https://TCOBDHTQXPEPV.
New op pack in the air, this gas what? He'll still be alive right now if you niggas ain't gas him up.
You carry https://TCOKB0JKFMT1U.
Fuck your homie dead. Fuck your homie dead. Fuck your homie dead. Most of their ass got hit in the head. Fuck your homie dead. Fuck your homie dead. Fuck your homie dead.
Carrie is going to put you on the list if you mock Rush Limbaugh. https://TCO83 Claudia.
They actually have this every single month, and you get this really cool perk of not being a victim of racial profiling. https://TCOFT6MTRXDQO. America pays more attention to dogs than people. True, I love animals, but you see more concern for puppies than for children here, especially foster children of color. Tragedy. Look it up. True.
The guy on the left is Joe Biden's brother Francois Maskless at Floyd Mayweather's birthday party. What arrogance. Joe lectured the entire country for a year about masks and the 100-day mask mandate, and not for nothing a grown man having a birthday party. Lame kids stuff. https://TCOCWPH0XQ929.
So much COVID crap out there, especially false positives. A lot of unnecessary and expensive testing.
Now,
a White House propaganda shot. Pretty impressive. Joe took off his jacket to show his really working note for next time. Roll up the sleeves and well really get the message. But does it feel like America is back? Feels weird and drifty right now, kind of like Joe. https://TCO56VWZGQICR.
The swamp survivor who survives in the swamp sneaks right. This is Ron Klain. He's the most powerful man in the world, more powerful than Joe Biden, and he's not accountable to us. His title is chief of staff, but he's basically in charge of everything, even Joe. https://TCOKSWCT8YDBJ.
just 6 days ago, ridiculous impeachment trial. No one is talking about it, and no one was talking about it even during it because people knew it was a fraud. We never took it seriously because it wasn't serious, but everyone's talking about Cuomo because he's in real trouble. https://TCOXTDVAOQJTB. SOAC has now joined the anti-Cuomo bandwagon. Big deal. Left-wing media spent years lying about Trump to avoid telling the truth about Democrats. Facts matter, holding them accountable. A bunch of junk who finally ordered that Cuomo be taken out. Remember when Mitt Romney told that story about putting the dog in a box on the roof of his station wagon for the trip cross-country? That was kind compared to Joe's treatment of this dog. Looks like Champ was tied on a rope to the back of a car for a long trip. https://TCOAFEWWW GYAWH.
Someone needs to rescue this rescue dog from the White House right away. https://TCONILPN0XFNO.
It's been 7 years since Matt Damon walked on Mars, so I can't get excited about the latest director's at Lego kit that scoots along at 2 mph, even if it does come with the toy helicopter. Get men and women on that planet already. NASA https://TCO4QQTSAPSKL.
You gotta admit it, Joe Biden looks totally in charge and decisive. I mean, look at him on that phone listening and talking. Executive leadership at its finest is fighting for us on that phone. I understand another call is on his schedule next Tuesday. Respect https://TCOIHIWXCZML. Weekends, although I always preferred tree skits.
Working members of the royal family. Whoops, that word again. Megan should know it by now. Oxymoron https://TCOK4CGCMDQDB.
Word is that Harry's royal blood went straight to her head. https://TCOJJBY4NRFL2. How many times can these two bitch and moan about that job that wasn't even a job? https://TCOZWKH1DWNCJ.
Again, didn't we go over this already? https://TCO8FUHAC1KS.
Whatever happened to Cindy Duncan?
Look at this. Andrei Gromyko, Soviet foreign minister, a commie through and through, but said to be a nice guy over drinks. But check out all the phones behind him. 5 telephones just like Joe Biden. https://TCOB572DX47 site. I count 5 different phones on his desk. 5. I know he's a big shot now, but whatever happened to multi-line phones? True story. Back in the Soviet Union they didn't have multi-line phones, so all the big shots had lots of phones on their desk. Soviet status symbol. This is my favorite mission control guy, Gene Kranz. He had that room wired tight. I've seen plenty of pictures of these guys smoking cigarettes, but not this, chowing down on a big pasta lunch with some Pepsi Cola, considered a rare treat in the 1960s. https://TCODQTCBUELO2.
Here's another one. High fives and hugs. I can see the first time we went to the moon or when we rescued Tom Hanks, but no more celebrating until we do something really cool like making a spaceship that can go the speed of light. If they pull that off, drinks are on me. https://TCOAL6NPHXR1C.
I love these mission control people, but why do they celebrate like this? Was there a chance the Mars probe could have missed Mars? I mean, we have like big time computers that are pretty goodies. Suspect this might be a made for TV moment. https://TCOXOFMDMERAD.
Enough screwing around, it's time to send people to Mars. Can't get too excited about the latest probe going there. Look at this picture. Guess when it was taken? Yesterday. Wrong. In 1975, 46 years ago, by the Viking probe. Stop having naming contests and send astronauts. https://TCOQZC3DOHDJP.
How annoyed would Dr. Seuss be if he found out that Michelle Obama was getting $100 million to produce children's content? That guy actually worked his ass off for decades, drawing, writing, mastering, with craft. Iconic. Michelle just shows up, all the work is done for her. https://TCOUG81BXKUDY.
A combined total of 74 seconds, yet the texts of Heidi Cruz are national crisis fake news. Joe Biden's family seen playing video games while Texas shivers. https://TCO33HP85BFZ.
You didn't raise 2 million for Texans, you raised 2 million for the Democratic Party that will never make it to Texas, just like all the billions donated to BLM through ECBL. You went to the Democrats, you probably don't even know where Texas is on a map.
When there was a hurricane in Houston, a tornado in Tennessee, a wildfire in California, and riots in Kenosha, Donald Trump was there. But when there is a natural disaster going on in Texas for a whole week, Joe Biden is nowhere to be found.
Name another country that taxes their citizens only to send the money to America. Oh wait, I missed Trump.
Nancy Pelosi has tapped a man who has called Josh Hawley a piece of SHT and said that I should be placed on an off-fly list to lead the Capitol Security Review. How is someone who is so outwardly partisan going to conduct an impartial investigation?
I'm calling on Joe Biden to order flags to be flown at Hofstaff in honor of Rush Limbaugh.
Things are so bad for Andrew Cuomo that Ivanoc is calling for a full investigation into his nursing home conduct. I somehow doubt he's preparing another book about his COVID handling.
Why didn't you include products for the other 57 genders? Pretty sexist.
Doing my part to keep draining the swamp. Bringing earmarks back would be a disaster.
Joe Biden's greatest fear of the China virus is losing his sense of smell. https://tcobyh for Ushik.
Protecting and defending the Constitution doesn't mean trying to rewrite the parts you don't like.
Biden is allegedly already planning another $3 trillion COVID-19 stimulus package that includes carbon tax hikes and green energy galore. So basically we're just calling anything COVID relief to try and guilt Republicans into passing a radical socialist agenda.
Real.Verliolinus people treat it like a stock and not as a currency. Jack the Sabit same outlet said this earlier today. https://tcorg for OBB.
Trump is right, Twitter has become so boring without him.
Real Brisson great, that's what the Catholic Church is for.
Reason magazine is garbage. Anthony Free.
Ben Martin MLEVITTNP 2013 Cuomo's job, Imperial Mag.
Lamore Rodriguez.
Who would have thought?
What other damage does this dump do? Science my SM.
Defied, please tell this old DDRBTCH to go F herself very much, thank you.
Impotus Prime. Actually airplanes are the safest confined environment one can find.
People are so done with COVID in this country. https://tcoowc5pknva.
Who wants another perspective on masks, overwhelmed healthcare and life in general? Watch The Cave, it will help you to realize how pathetic people in the developed world are ruining their lives over a virus with 999 survival rate. https://tcox1lhilw7sm.
Celestial Swan.
It will be a little bouncy on the way out and on a way inshore. Flight without weather conditions is a luxury in the USA. I wish I was drunk now.
YT2804, you should have posted WHO guidelines published in December 2019. All of the 2020 nonsense was not recommended in those.
Can somebody send CDCDIRECTOR a note? She is doing a sloppy job about those travel restrictions. My flight to Denver is full up to the roof. Dansir at Omsk-Sinikon Kirpen soon. Oh, so you are talking about March 2021. Sweden had even less restrictions. Go in peace, Dumpkick.
At Omsk-Sinikon Dansir Kirpen soon. Bye.
At Omsk-Sinikon Dansir Kirpen soon. Suck it up, Dumpkick.
At Omsk-Sinikon Dansir Kirpen soon. Do you?
Dansir at Omsk-Sinikon Kirpen soon. Dumpkick, I guess you haven't met me yet on Twitter. Voluntary lockdown my SM.
and soon. So you are telling me that in countries such as Sweden where there are no lockdowns or masks there should be flu? Do I understand that correctly?
Geez, where do you come from? So you are saying mitigation isn't working with COVID but works with flu?
LilithAssyria are not safe. Messaging should be consult with your doctor and weigh your risks and benefits.
LilithAssyria trials had almost no high-risk group people, so it's BS.
LilithAssyria no such evidence that eliminates death. Frankfurt Zach, maybe those are vaccines.
Rob Hatters 90.
Alex is the best 27. She probably left her helmet at home.
Eulogicated.
TW 37 24 44 17.
Foreignenses.
Two kids of similar age opposite from each other at the airport. My kid no little girl double. I have no idea what these parents are thinking.
Cas 05271. Why the FCUK do they even come to deadly Florida? HTTPS TCOGML3TKCXIE. There is some type of electronic necklace that comes along with this nonsense. Alex Brinson. Well, Florida helped me to be less white, I have to admit. Angry Cringe. Zero. Have they got jobs in renewables yet?
What are those stupid things? Anybody knows they are plastic. HTTPS TCO3V5LIJV8C7.
Jack the Sabik. Love how they all woke up half a year later.
R0G3RM360. COVID was all over the place in November 2019. No travel restrictions back then.
Sir and Curio John Haiti is apologies.
Memo to Alistair Hames. You are a dumpster. How are those working in Czech Republic? HTTPS TCOFRWOK1 add 5H.
AGINNT too long to wait.
Justin Hart. They should send it together with that survey on whiteness. Mercola dumpcucks.
Nico's Dennis Rincordo another week.
Whatever happened to peoples?
Jordan Schachtel.
Paul Krugman dumpcut. R0G3RM360 lockdowns are ineffective everywhere.
Jen Erickson Southwest Area have been working remotely from Florida the whole past week. It's highly convenient. Hafferman Justin Hart. Amber Boston.
Lauren Carnley. I am so tired of this old fart. Food for a thought.
Zerovich did the windmills and freeze.
Your daily reminder how Sweden did everything wrong.
I wonder at times how the FCUK Fossis operates. Fossy waking up. What am I going to entertain those peasants with today?
Can't remember when I was shopping for clothes last time, cause you know it's forbidden to try on clothes at stores in Nick Plus all over the place. I wonder how those Bangladeshi people sewing clothes doing these days.
Dennis Rincourt. This is old government appealed and the implementation has been delayed because any updates.
Fake bird.
Lost parasite. I would say lunatic asylum.
Unintended consequences, good way to put it.
JHASKINSCABREREHHHHH. This looks like a good old normal to me.
Is it a good thing?
I think next time I should get this for my flight. I should put it on and have a sign on me saying COVID. It would be a nice candid camera episode. What do you say? HTTPS TCO60FZKZ2 SIN HTTPS TCOWMVWBSLM0U.
Yeah, I wonder why they stopped one mask only for their kid. Why not two or a helmet too?
Emperor, I remember they felt embarrassed. They joked about this junk with the crew on boarding, kind of self-defense joking, you know. Guys, these are exact same helmets I saw on my Houston last week.
And Gregkellyusa same evidence as asymptomatic transmission has.
Jordan Schachtel, good old days, huh? Justin Hart, they should be FCUKING fired.
COVID-19 data, tell me about it.
Sumando Lung put this corrupt psycho to prison.
Oh yeah, Alex Brinson.
Fellow your Craig Cup for your children. My idiotic private school in Nick remains in hybrid indefinitely at $40K a year. Alex Brinson, congrats. Now back to COVID please.
District Kilamate.
Kilamate, can this dude get any better?
Jordan Shackle, why is it so difficult for many to understand that COVID crisis is 100 man-made? Kucherov Antonyuk will use this equation in the future, thanks.
Zero no, just open the FCUK everything instead.
Burton Kucherov and Tom, there are similar stories from everywhere. I think not sure they affect anything though. Kucherov and Tom, okay, underlying conditions.
WHCOVIDRESPONSE.
Here the dude.
Good morning. Good morning, guys. Lent with Dems continues. Just done my 5K. But I'm hurting today, guys. I'm really, really hurting today. I just want to ask. I want to ask the Irish government. What about us? When do we matter? What about 95% of the population that this virus doesn't affect? Do we not matter, no? What about our kids? What about small businesses that are going to be closed now? If we go to the 1st of May, going to be closed for 12, 14 months. What about us? I am fucking sick of it now. I'm absolutely sick of it. How do they expect us to survive? To pay our mortgage, to pay our fucking rates on our business. 7 grand. 7 grand and €203 a week. That's what I got off the government for being closed for 14 months if we go to May the 1st. Do we not matter? Does my son not matter? 13 years of age, in his fucking bedroom, 3-4 hours a day doing homeschooling. Can't go meet his mates for a kickabout on the pitch. Can't go for a game of golf. Can't cycle past 5K. Does he not matter, no? Or my daughter, who used to do gymnastics 4 or 5 times a week, 11 years of age, who now is a shadow of her former self. She doesn't matter, does she not? 95% and 98% survival rate for this fucking virus. And you're destroying the country and destroying the fucking people. Micheál Martin, Leo Varadkar, you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what the answer, but lockdowns are not fucking working. They're not working. Clearly they're not working. So open up the country and give us a fucking chance. Let us try and survive, man. The messages I'm getting on Twitter from people, young people who are telling me they can't do it, they can't do another 9 weeks. Do they not matter? Do they not matter at all to anybody in this country? Old people. I had a client tell me his dad and his mum and dad are setting the alarm clock to stay in the bed longer so they don't have to be awake for as long during the day. It's fucking bollocks and I'm sick of it.
Yet still old and sick COVID, old and sick health conditions.
Not taking this.
FARIETXN Chuek, Mother of the Year, my SM.
Justin Hart, love it. I am so tired to see webinar titles on the aviation industry saying how will COVID reshape the skies. Just open the FCUK ING borders. Plenty of people are sitting on their bags ready to fly. No reshape needed, mother coopers.
Robin Minotti, add to this a margin of error.
Lockdown, oh yep, feeling miserable yet. Alistair Hames.
Scary times to Carl Vanek and Martin Kuldorf. Damn it, of course I do.
How come over the 2020 pandemic I have discovered myself following people with a background in data science and finance and not a single public health expert? Well, not true on health expert. I do follow Carl Vanek.
Frankfurt Zach, another fear-mongering. John Haidt, here is one for you, Dumpkin.
KHASKINSCABRERA.
Let them FCUK themselves in the ass amp over and over again till they bleed. Apologies for a gruesome comparison, I got no other. All you need to know about virtue signaling.
Chuela Justin Hart, thank you.
Farinenses.
Chuela Justin Hart, you forgot to include some deadly headline.
Expose the dunf cuts.
It's about flu KP24 lockdown 00.
Lindunks in proportion to tell people they will have to report their chlamydia status to in the future. Let's see how they like it.
Jordan Shackle, this won't be our future.
Alex Brinson, they start worrying about their reputation, I guess. District I Lauren Carnley, well, let's see.
Frainel James Melville Fate Burr, so the difference with the UK, they can do take out and hang out together, that's lame.
Nikos Lauren Carnley, that's what I think.
Lip strippers. Written, my therapist told me I fight this absurd cause I feel COVID makes me waste my time on earth, which equals to fear of death. I am better off with such fear of death than worrying about a disease with 999 survival rate.
James Mulville fake brewer restaurants open indoors in France. District Thai Lauren currently show them this https://tconkkbdbhmzh.
You know what was the most difficult part of 2020? Hearing from close people. I have crazy views.
Lauren currently, when all the damage becomes apparent, they won't be able to deny it.
Herald of World, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
Lauren currently, I will make sure all the dumb fucks around me will feel ashamed.
How will these dumb fucks feel once they realize they have been wrong all along?
In proportion to it was never about NHS, I am afraid.
The government S's are feeling they are being exposed slowly but surely.
Wake the FC UK up.
Vinay Vici 27 Sky News, they are fucking nuts.
We have been finger pointing at Sweden since April 2020. We have been right all this FC UK time. America first means we provide a vaccine to every American who wants one before spending $750 in other countries, as a Pelosi COVID bill does. https://tcohocjcxgp0i.
I would like to report a romance scam STRZOK and page. How about you solve that one first?
De Santisers in https://tcolhuuwqblhs. This is what Speaker Pelosi's appointee thinks of Lauren Boebert.
Is this some sort of homophobic slur? So a couple of things. One, I'm not gay. Two, nobody should be mean to another person because they are gay. I am told many of these views are left-wing by my neocon colleagues in their critique of me.
Merciless struck me as a weird thing to brag about. I pray I am always able to extend and receive mercy.
Well done, Henry McMaster in South Carolina. Protecting life from the moment of conception is noble and right.
Coca-Cola needs to stop this racist nonsense. No one stood in line and picked their skin color before they were born. Identity politics is ruining this country, dividing people and teaching hate.
The man who owned the computer store had to shut down his business because of defamation and threats, while Hunter Biden and Joe Biden have not been held accountable for their corrupt business dealing with CCP-controlled energy companies. So about Hunter's laptop, impeach him.
The Dem-controlled House Act Committee crammed billions for 120 loan forgiveness to farmers in the $19 trillion budget, which pays a profit. It's only available to 6 races but not white farmers. Nothing to do with COVID-19, and only criteria is based on race. That's racism. The media lies and lies and lies. They call me nasty names like racist and other full labels and continually lie about me, yet literal proof on a Google search that they lied. 120 loan forgiveness to farmers but not if you are white. That's racist. https://tcorassgscpsq. That's why I've introduced articles of impeachment. It's time to impeach Biden. Text impeach to 55,444.
In the World Lead today, shocking allegations of gang rape are emerging from detention camps in China. The U.S. government is accusing China of the mass internment of up to 2 million members of the mostly Muslim ethnic minority group, the Uyghurs, and other groups in recent years, part of a policy the U.S. State Department says amounts to genocide. Beijing, of course, denies this, claiming the camps are actually vocational training centers aimed at creating jobs and stamping out Islamist extremism. But human rights organizations, not to mention survivors of these camps, say that the Chinese government is lying. A warning, the following report has language that may be disturbing for some viewers. CNN's Ivan Watson reports.
The traumatized survivor of a 9-month nightmare. Tursunai Ziyawudun, a refugee from China's Xinjiang region, describes the torture and rape she says she endured during detention in a Chinese internment camp.
How is your health today after your experience in the camps?
I was in a lot of pain and suffered bleeding. After I arrived in the US, I had to undergo surgery and my uterus was removed. I've suffered a lot of damage.
Tursunai is an ethnic Uyghur. In March 2018, she says police in Xinjiang detained her at a so-called vocational training center for women.
Because I lived in Kazakhstan for 5 years, they wanted me to confess to say I was influenced by American propaganda and foreign organizations.
During one interrogation, Tursunai says guards beat and kicked her till she blacked out. In the camp, Tursunai says authorities began forcibly implanting female detainees with contraceptive IUDs. After a botched procedure led to bleeding, she says she was taken into a room.
There were 3 guards. They inserted a stun baton inside me and twisted and shocked me with it. I passed out.
On a separate occasion, she says guards wearing masks once again took her from her cell.
In the next room, I had another girl crying and screaming. I saw about 5 men going into that room. I thought they were torturing her. But then I was gang raped. After that, I realized what they also did to her.
Tursunai first revealed these claims in an interview with the BBC. The Chinese government did not answer our questions about the women named in this report, but Beijing did vehemently deny any human rights abuses in Xinjiang.
There has never been such a thing as systematic sexual abuse and mistreatment against women. China is a country ruled by law.
Why you are here?
There's strict state censorship in Xinjiang, and police followed and harassed CNN journalists when they last visited.
Tursunai claims she was held at a facility outside the city of Gulja. CNN has also obtained rare testimony from another woman who says she worked in a camp near the city of Urumqi.
The women all had their hair shaved off. They wore gray uniforms with orange vests and printed numbers on them.
For 28 years, Kelbinur Siddiq worked as an elementary school teacher. In 2017, she says she was ordered to teach Mandarin at an internment camp holding thousands of women. Speaking from relative safety in the Netherlands, Kelbinur says on her first day of work in the camp, she witnessed a disturbing sight.
2 soldiers were carrying a Uyghur girl out on a stretcher. There was no spark of life on her face. Later, a female police officer told me the girl died on her way to the hospital due to heavy bleeding.
Although Kelbinur did not know the cause of the woman's death, she says later that same female police officer told her male guards routinely gang raped detainees at the camp. The officer also told her,
when they drank at night, policemen told each other how they raped and tortured girls.
In previous reporting on China's mass internment policy in Xinjiang, CNN heard testimony from Gulbahar Jalilova, a citizen of Kazakhstan, who alleges that she endured sexual assault from a guard during prolonged detention in Xinjiang. CNN cannot independently verify the accounts of these women. China has attacked their credibility, calling these women actors playing victims from Xinjiang.
The Chinese government says no women are abused in the camps. What do you say to the Chinese government?
I am a 43-year-old woman. Do you think this is something I can be proud of sharing with the whole world? I would tell them that I'm not afraid of them anymore, because they already killed my soul.
She hopes her brave decision to speak out will encourage others to do the same.
But Jake, speaking out involves a terrible burden. All of the dozens of natives of Xinjiang that I've interviewed over the past couple of years, when they go public, they do so knowing that the Chinese authorities may punish their relatives who are still in Xinjiang. I mean, parents, siblings, spouses, including the women in this report. The Chinese government, of course, denies that they use relatives as hostages. Beijing continues to insist there are no human rights abuses whatsoever in Xinjiang. Jake.
All right, Ivan, thanks so much.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. https://tcou1wgbillxzg.
MKFENRIS Fidel would be proud.
Canadians voted for a former substitute drama teacher twice. The country deserves everything coming to it. https://tcovb13v61k6g.
Sharonji actually empowered as an ideological shame. She blocked me. This is the thought leaders of the MSN journalists that run and hide when confronted with information that frightens our prepackaged narrative. They wonder why nobody listens anymore.
Sharon G. Crickets follow.
Sharon G. You should say mate not buddy if you are an Australian colonizer. Also you should give your home job, social media and all that you own to people coming into the country as reparations. Why as a colonizer are you taking up space? Tell me how I am wrong.
Sharon G said though that magisterial voice there to help us all cowers in self-loathing, then you might understand why the public counts journalists as scum. Sorry to be the one to tell you this sincerely.
Sharon G. Genocides throughout history that kind of escalated quickly as my take is being curtailed by big tech and nobody is really interested in your take. Just being honest, looking at your numbers, it is probably best you retreat from the field and call it a win. Be well.
Pre-select Joe, take it up with USA Today. No matter the shoulders, no matter the levels of testosterone, no matter the size of a feminine penis, a woman is a woman, period. Her beating down the other team in abject submission is a matter of basketball. Insert sport. Her pride.
FF Stokenade in Palladian. It is true, it is called the Gaijin bubble on the train. I don't care, I get more legroom, only those that need attention cry racism.
Sharing G. I live in a country of color, as you'd call it in your articles. I think the industrial gang rape of children over the course of decades, when people were fearful of being called a bigot for noticing, is more damaging in the long run. Call me crazy. https tcofcrfeonb8k.
Eovis Optimus. Indeed sir, indeed clown world is upon us. This was a Ben video lol. Eovis Optimus, let me get back to you as on the phone it only lets me go back about 20 vids. Give me a couple of HRS and I'll get you it.
Sharon G. Well, I would agree with you, however, given the fact that journalists preach from the pulpit of what is currently politically perceived as moral, which changes by the day, I do find it interesting the lack of any kind of differential opinions tolerated.
Sharon G. I did not say anyone is an abuser nor anything about human rights. Is Islam right about women from a scriptural point of view or in practice in Islamic societies as well as in enriched communities in Australia? Why drag abusers into this? Your response?
RealCandaceO based and accelerate.
Soscar boy, too much appreciated. Allison, very much hope you are well.
This is powerful, this is progressive. 50-year-old 6 feet 6, 230 pounds trans college basketball star Gabrielle Ludwig is showing all that women are women, period. Every women's sports will soon be dominated by trans women, and that's a good thing. https tcoepebzd3cnk.
MarieoX.
The flower nurse, Publix Winn-Dixie. Not sure, I've seen Winn-Dixie all over Florida as well. Are their sandwiches seriously better than Publix, and do they also sell beer?
The flower nurse.
The flower nurse Publix. I love the Publix sandwich counter.
The flower nurse, it's the new woke mathematics.
Sharon 75571311. Maybe they should try anger instead. DEREKSLOANCPC. Join the People's Party of Canada to save the nation.
JPLUISI1. Yes, radio is toxic. I'm putting up giant antennas so I can catch propaganda-free radio stations.
Fred, our government is a clown shoe.
JPLUISI1. You're also paying civil servants to lock you in your home. That's got to be worth something, am I right? Seriously dude, what's up with your vaccine obsession?
In the math and ancient history, and the Mesopotamians has a sexagesimal system based on 60 not decimal. They divided the circle of the sky into 360 degrees, being great astronomers, and we still use their seconds and their minutes. They weren't white.
That's because of the orders he received from Davos.
JPLUISI1. Well, he is half Cuban.
Unlike the mRNA vaccines.
Sure looks stunning with the snow. I was there last September 8 right under the Acropolis on my last night.
Oh no, and once again I must ask, what kind of invertebrate is fine in a world of no travel, concerts, pubs, restaurants, freedom, weddings, dancing, adventure that doesn't involve COVID violations invented by bureaucrats? The flower nurse.
Yalini Freedom Nick the Geek 78 Goldilocks 1960. Don't give up as the reality of never-ending lockdowns sink and people will be looking for a way out. I can hardly find anybody lately who doesn't think this is a scandemic.
The flower nurse. That actually explains a lot.
12 people died on the spot after getting the vaccine. Several cases of blindness, eye disorders, etc. The UK version of VAERS.
What do you call it when a person is entrusted with the national interest and yet betrays that interest at the behest of a foreign power?
I'll have you know the source of that graph is impeccable, straight from Switzerland, Davos to be precise. World Economic Forum Klaus Schwab is the name.
The Flowerner's has FDA total control. A massive solar flare with concurrent magnetic storm will rile all the computers and end this takeover instantly. I'll order one up. I know a guy who knows a guy.
All questions the mainstream media never asks. Current reality is a lie. This is a projection based on worst case scenario, once again based on TAM's mission to keep lockdowns going forever.
Crushing Canada, not COVID, which is a virus which cannot be crushed, only delayed, while Tam and Trudeau continue with the destruction of Canada on the orders of foreign powers. Let's step all again.
Red comments for evidence of science.
The Flowerner's, you know, until you tweeted that I had no idea that Ashhole was a Vanderbilt, not that I give a crap. Okay, been working all morning, time to put on the snowpants and embrace nature.
The Flowerner's, he actually reminds me of Johnson.
The Flowerner's, thank God I'm going snowshoeing today. Snowpants, snowshoes, camera, hoping to capture some birds on film.
MWMJENERD for National Little Justin Trudeau. Yo, for National Little Justin Trudeau, you better get to work amplifying the variant argument to promote your vaccine agendas.
Hope Great Reset shill as well.
That's why you should join the End the Lockdowns caucus.
Carlton. To update their talking points over there instead of just reading a selective quote from some starchy report. The reality is this. Here are the numbers. Across the G7, the unemployment rate averages 6%. In the US, it's 6.3%. In the EU, it's 7.5%. In Canada, 9.4%. We are far worse than all the other countries who are also facing the COVID crisis. Isn't it clear that while those economies are suffering under COVID, our economy has the added problem of suffering under the policies of this government?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, let me be clear about the success of our government's policies in supporting Canadian workers and Canadian jobs. As of January, Canada had recovered 71% of the jobs lost since the beginning of the pandemic, and that compares to only 56% recovered in the US. And Mr. Speaker, Canada has a 64.9% labor force participation rate. That's higher than Germany at 56%, the US at 61.7%, higher than Japan, higher than South Korea. We are doing well, Mr. Speaker, in tough times.
Honourable Member for Carlton.
That answer just demonstrates how out of touch this government is. The policies were working. We wouldn't have 834,100 Canadians more out of work than were a year ago. If it were working, then we wouldn't have an unemployment rate that's 50% higher than the average of the G7 and of the United States of America. The reality is that this government is delivering among the worst jobs records on planet Earth, and Canadians are starting to wonder how they're going to put food on the table or roof overhead. When will those people who've lost their jobs get their paychecks back?
Want to know Gates' approach? Follow the pronouncements of this Gates-funded institute and Gates-funded Tony Blair selling out his countrymen for cash.
So this is what a traitor looks like.
When can you conceive of, with vaccines and all things being equal with regard to new variants, if things are not going to be completely back to normal this year, are they?
No, I don't believe so. Our Chief Medical Officer said to me this week that he believes a third wave of coronavirus is baked into what will happen during this year. And we're not talking about if there will be a third wave, we're talking about how we can act to make sure that that third wave doesn't affect us in the way that the wave we've seen over this autumn and winter has done. So there's going to be a long goodbye to coronavirus, and it's going to be with us for the rest of this calendar year, I believe. Hopefully, of course, in ways that still allow us to go about more of our lives as we would wish to. And that's certainly what we will be working to with our vaccination programme and the other protections that we will still need to all go on maintaining.
Would you put odds on a fourth lockdown, or would that be too early?
Well, I'm certainly not going to say to anybody that we can guarantee that we won't need one. I just don't think that coronavirus is a business like that. Every week we are learning of new developments in other parts of the world. In Wales at the moment, the Kent variant is now almost everywhere. We have examples of the South African variant in Wales. This week we learnt of a Nigerian variant, where we've got a small number of cases in Wales. There are changes to the Kent variant in Bristol at one end of Wales and in Liverpool at our northern border.
Oh yes, of course.
At any time, this virus could have further unpleasant surprises for us. And nobody, I think, sensibly can simply say that there's no chance at all that we won't face difficulties again in the future.
When are they going to put this guy on trial?
Hello, namaste, sat sri akal, assalamu alaikum. This past year has been challenging for us all, with many of us losing our loved ones.
But we will be reunited with our friends and family. All we have to do is just take the vaccine.
Many in our community have suffered the most, largely due to our efforts on the front line at the NHS or as key workers.
Looking after others and serving our community is what we do. It's how we've been brought up.
That's why we have such immense pride when a family member becomes a doctor or a nurse. We have so much respect for them. They need our respect now more than ever.
Today, those doctors and scientists have found us a way forward. A COVID-19 vaccine that will help save lives.
There is no scientific evidence to suggest that the vaccine will work differently for people from ethnic minorities.
In fact, the scientists who developed one of the most widely used vaccines are Muslim.
The vaccine does not include pork or any material of fetal or animal origin.
The vaccine does not contain the virus itself, only harmless elements from it.
Taking the vaccine is the only way to boost your immunity against COVID for you and your loved ones.
The vaccine was available quickly because of a global effort.
Because huge funds were made available by governments around the world.
So something that would normally take years took just months.
It's very, very rare for vaccines to have a long-term side effect. But what we do know is that COVID-19's long-term implications are deadly.
The COVID-19 vaccines have gone through the same strict processes and regulations as other vaccines, such as for measles, mumps, rubella and TB.
There is no chip or tracker in the vaccine to keep watching where you go. Your mobile phone actually does a much better job of that.
Pregnant women are not excluded from the vaccine, but should discuss their case with a doctor.
There's also no evidence to suggest the vaccine affects fertility.
Herd immunity is not an option, as many millions will need to be infected, causing a disastrous number of deaths.
The vaccine does not change or damage our DNA. Not taking the vaccine can damage us more.
3 of my aunties and one of my uncles have had the vaccine.
My mum has had the vaccine.
My dad has had the vaccine.
My mum and dad have had the vaccine.
My parents have had the vaccine.
My mum's had the vaccine and my dad's appointment is booked.
I was initially nervous, but now I've had it, I'm really pleased.
My sister's had the vaccine, and I can't wait until it's my turn.
You may not always trust what you hear and what you see, but you can trust the vaccine.
Just one simple step will mean we can once again eat, drink, pray, and hug together.
Not only will you be saving your life, but you'll be saving other lives too. And there can be no better gift than that. Thank you.
France's Scientific Council wrote this: they have been the main driver of COVID mismanagement, i.e. stopping all treatments in favor of vaccines since the beginning. What is going on? Good news though. Chloroquine, it was the first drug used to treat COVID in early days in the first study published by the Chinese RCT no less, from which Dr. Didier Raoult worked to produce his HCQAZI protocol.
Follow the thread down for critical thinking.
that foreigners will the man is a moron, slip of the tongue, or simply misspeaking. Not that I don't believe this is a pandemic, while clowns like Justin Trudeau act as lightning rods to criticism to distract, they also proceed with the Great Reset regardless. Emmanuel Macron appoints a Dr. Paitet, who in an interview below says it makes no sense to mask children below 1,012 years old to oversee management of the crisis. Dr. Paitet is the person charged with evaluating management of the crisis in France. A light in the night.
Là, il y a autant de réponses qu'il y a de personnes. Il est évident qu'on va mettre en évidence le virus chez les enfants. On sait que, heureusement, les enfants ne tombent que pas malades, voire très peu. Donc, c'est déjà la première information. On sait aussi que les enfants, évidemment, peuvent se transmettre le virus. Par contre, ils le transmettent peu, voire pas aux adultes. Donc, ça veut dire que le masque, qui peut être extrêmement gênant dans l'apprentissage, à mon avis, pour les jeunes enfants, ne devrait pas être porté.
Les jeunes enfants, c'est moins de 8 ans, 10 ans, 12 ans. On dit 10, 12, ça dépend, peu importe, c'est dans les petites écoles. Je pense que là, on n'en a certainement pas besoin, parce que de toute manière, on ne peut pas retenir le virus. On doit vivre avec ce virus. Voilà. Pour les enfants un peu plus âgés, les adolescents, ça c'est toute une autre question, ce sont des jeunes adultes. Et là, la transmission, elle se fait évidemment d'autant plus facilement.
One wonders whether anyone in the exponential powerhouses the airlines is capable of critical thought, or of hiring to those capable of critical thought to challenge these unending lockdowns and save themselves. A refreshing conversation with an actual and very well credentialed scientist looking at what happened and what actual science and knowledge predicted. You want your faith restored? Watch this video from Nanu Abnormal's video library. Israel affirms having developed the medication which heals serious COVID-19 cases. Its navyhato CD24, a medication manufactured at the Ichilov Hospital in Tel Aviv, tested on 30 patients infected with serious forms of the sickness and which healed 29 patients.
If a corporate company sent around a training kit instructing black people how to be less black, the world would implode and lawsuits would follow. I genuinely hope these employees sue Coca-Cola for blatant racism and discrimination.